listening to the Karstcast movie cast.
Hello, welcome to the 89th episode of the Karstcast movie cast. Jeff, what glands do all mammals have?
Sweat glands. Wait, no. I changed my answer. I'm changing my answer because hippos don't have sweat glands, I think.
Boom.
Or no, they sweat like red.
I couldn't. I don't know.
What glands?
All mammals have. Hint, the answer is sort of similar to the word mammals. Like
Mammary?
Yep. Bingo. I guess I kind of gave it away there, didn't I? But
yeah, you made that easy. I feel like that doesn't even count, honestly.
Well, I didn't have another one pulled up, so you're just gonna take it.
That's fine. Well, speaking of milk, I got something like 10 minutes ago I forgot to eat that I actually have to eat right now because it's going to melt because it's a small ice cream.
Okay.
So you're going to just have to carry...
Yeah.
It's not that small. It's a medium-sized ice cream.
A mini-sized...
I can eat this in 1 minute. It's medium-sized.
I just want to see what it looks like. Okay. You didn't say ice cream bar or anything. I guess that's just...
It's an ice cream bar.
Ice cream. Yeah. I was just like a little tiny ice cream in a cone.
It's like medium-sized. Okay. It's kind of weirdly shaped.
Do you want me to...
It feels like a sword.
It's definitely like a little phallic, dare I say. Do you want me to blur this out for the podcast? Because I feel like...
No, because people are going to then think it's very phallic.
They're going to have a field day with this one on the subreddit. But I guess on that note, I'll talk about my Thanksgiving while you eat that. But yeah, I've been home. Had a good Thanksgiving, just immediate family. I had a lot of food. I went the pumpkin pie route. No whipped cream. I'm not a whipped cream guy. Because it's kind of like
You're not a creamer?
Don't ever say that to me.
I was trying to think of a way to like say that sounded kind of funny. I think I succeeded.
No, I'm not into cream pies. But it was a good dish. And yeah, I've just been kind of hanging out. I'm here for the entire month of December. So get used to this. I will say it. I think I like this background more than my last one.
It's nicer. The bookshelf is what makes it.
The bookshelf.
It's just there's more depth. There's more depth. It doesn't feel like you're living in like squalor.
Yeah, I think the thing that I have to do with my current setup in that other room is just I need to put the camera in a different spot. It just feels so far away from me when I'm recording, and I need to. I just need to adjust that.
Dead on with like, I don't know. This feels right because like, the room, like frames your head.
Right.
In a good way.
Thank you. Yeah. So, I don't know what I'm gonna do about this. But
so I'm just gonna say, did you make any dishes for Thanksgiving?
Not a damn thing. I'm not a cook. I'm
not either, but I made one thing.
Uh-oh.
And I want to know. I'm still eating, by the way.
Yeah.
But I'm almost done.
Yeah. Hey, take your time.
But take your time. If people on the podcast listening, you're like, yeah, take your time. We can just wait for you to chew. But I don't know if this is a thing in the Midwest, but I think it's a thing in Florida for sure. I don't know. I've looked up like regional dishes, and it seems like it's not everywhere, but sweet potato casserole.
I've heard of that. You made that? Is that what you...
Yeah, so I made that. But the thing is, the way you make it is like it's sweet potatoes with like, you do some casserole type stuff. I don't know what that means, but you like do a couple eggs in there and some like sugar and stuff.
Yeah.
But then you also mix in pineapple chunks. And on the top of it at the end, you melt marshmallows.
Dude, what?
This is a real thing.
Wait,
I promise.
I think I saw a marshmallow related dish. For the record, like in Minnesota at least, it's like I've never heard of like a marshmallow dish for dinner. And Elizabeth Warren just posted something on Thanksgiving where she's like, I burned the marshmallow dish. And I'm like, what? That was since when are people eating marshmallows at dinner?
Yeah. No, I was doing that. And
you were doing it.
It was the best part. It was so good.
I do think that would be the best part about it.
Yeah, because the texture is perfect, right? It's like kind of like mashed sweet potato, but like a little bit thicker because you're adding some stuff to it.
Yeah.
But then also the pineapples mixed in is like the perfect like little,
No, it's not. That's not the
citrusy
perfect
kick, and also like a nice pineapple crunch like texture.
A pineapple ruins a dish so fast. And this is not
Not
me
everyone.
stating an opinion on pineapple on pizza. I don't really care about that. I just think that what you're describing would not work at all. But I also haven't tried it, so maybe I'm wrong.
No, I'm gonna say
If it has nuts in it, I will never try it. But,
two Thanksgivings ago in Chicago, when I went to your old apartment for the like friends Thanksgiving thing.
Right, I wasn't there.
Yeah, you weren't there. I made that, and no one. I think one person was like kind of liked it, but I was like the only one eating it. Everyone else, like you could tell, everyone else was like, "What the fuck is this?" And yeah, and then of course I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna take this home and then eat it myself."
It's so sad. I also see you dripping that ice cream all over the place.
I
But
caught
you
it,
did
though.
it. You finished it, yeah. To be fair, right before this, I was having some apple pie that my dad made, and it's really good. So there's that.
The classic Christopher Allen apple pie.
Yeah, they don't call him Christopher Apple Pie Runquist for nothing. I also have these new headphones, so I don't have to do the over the ear thing anymore.
Okay, I was in my head. I was like, something is slightly different.
And it's
And
the
I
new
could
headphones.
not put my finger on it.
Yep.
And I was like, there's like this is a much cleaner look, and I'm like, maybe it's just the background.
Nope.
But no, it's the in-ear
It's the ear
situation, because your whole
earbuds.
head, your hair now can poof out.
Yep.
Because
Yeah,
you've got some
you can
poofy
get-
hair right now.
I do have some poofy hair. I haven't had it this long, I think, since freshman year. And anyone who's seen those photos, I tweeted them like a while ago. But I used to have really poofy hair, and I think I'm gonna get back
I always
into
have
it.
poofy hair.
Yeah, you have poofy hair.
Like if you look at this,
Yeah.
like my hair is
Wow.
poofy.
Wow. See, we have to both be on the yours is a lot poofier than mine. Mine is a little wavy now, but I also
There's-
haven't washed it in a long time.
No, mine was washed hours ago.
Okay. How often do you wash your hair?
So I at minimum every other day.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, usually every day.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
See, I used to wash it every day, and I think that's why my hair used to be really poofy, but then a friend told me that you're not supposed to do that because it's really bad for your hair. 'Cause it
Yeah, I've
dries it
heard
out.
that. So it's like now that I'm not doing anything, it's pretty much every other day.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I know that some people definitely believe that it's like really bad for your hair.
Yeah. See, ever since then, I have not been washing it every day. And recently, I've been washing my hair every 4 days.
Once a month?
Basically, yeah. And you know what? I was talking to a friend, and yeah, she was like, yeah, it probably doesn't need to be. I feel like hair was meant to not go washed that often. You know, I think it's.
so absolutely that is kind of true in that, you know, people were living long before showers.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
So, you know,
mean-
obviously there's a disconnect.
Right.
Just like how we weren't meant to like clip our nails all the time, because generally the nails just would wear down because we did a bunch of stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
I wonder, because, you know, I chip my nails a lot. My, like, little anxious tick is that I pick at my nails. And that's why I've never had long fingernails, because the moment they get, like, a little bit long, I'm just, like, a animal and just start chipping them off. And I have really ugly nails because of that. But I'm like, I wonder how long that's been around. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, it's just weird.
Yeah. It's, you know, these are all good questions, and I think that the answers are like a little bit above where this podcast is, and the explanations I think might be too long.
Right, yeah.
They're good questions though, and if only someone
Smarter
had an
ones.
anthropological degree, maybe they could answer
If
these.
only.
But I don't know if only one of us
We had
had to
someone
learn about
available
stuff
for
like
that.
this at some point. But
Yeah. Also, this isn't. I was just gonna say, I think I used to wash my hair all the time because I was on the swim team, and you kind of have to at that.
oh right, because all the
'Cause
chlorine.
Disgusting.
Did your hair ever turn like green because of all the chlorine?
No, I never
Is that a
went through
thing
that.
that happens?
I know it is, but I didn't actually know anybody on the team where that happened to them. But also, it's like I only saw them. Well, that's not a lie. I was gonna say I only saw them at the pool, and there was weird lighting there. But we saw each other on buses and at school, so I don't know where I was going with that. But, yeah, let's just move on.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else? Oh, okay. So this is gonna be something that we can segue into the movie.
Here we go.
But so I recently I realized something. I missed seeing movies on like a large screen.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
I also did not want to pay for a good projector.
Right.
But there are very cheap, decent projectors you can get. I'm talking about like ones you buy on the internet from China that are $200.
That's pretty pricey, but yeah.
Okay, I'm talking about relative for like a projector.
Yeah. Right,
That's like the most I would consider spending on something. Yeah, on something that's fairly frivolous and also like not super high quality, but like medium quality. Mm-hmm. Again, for a projector, usually those cost like $1,000 for a good one.
Yeah.
But for $200, it's native 1080p, and I bought one, and I'm kind of into it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
hey,
it is better than I thought it would be.
Damn.
So that's what I've been watching this week. That's what I've been watching for all the movies I've had to watch.
I was going to bring this up to you because, well, I guess it won't be out by the time we release this episode, but I was going to say,
right.
You
it's a little promo.
Have a lot, because here's the thing, Jeff. I've had a lot to catch up on. I have been like cramming movies, and I'm like, I can't imagine what Jeff is going through.
Okay. So if we want to key everyone into what we're talking about, we are going to be on. So today is Sunday when we're recording this, and tomorrow afternoon, I believe.
Yep. Yeah, we haven't
when
decided
we're recording with Intercut. Yeah, but I think they said around when we record with them, which was like 6 p.m. or 5 p.m. Central, maybe. That's something like that. That's my guess.
That's
we'll figure
important
because I don't even know yet.
Squeezing in two more tomorrow, but
yeah, I was gonna squeeze in 2 more as well. I was even gonna squeeze like maybe 1 more in tonight.
Me too. Yeah.
We are doing a Fincher ranking episode. Mm-hmm. And for them, that's easy because they've probably seen all of them like 3 times each.
Yep.
So they're like, yeah, we're just going to rank things we've already seen. And then we're like, yeah, we'll do that with you. And then both of us were like, we have not seen all of these films. And especially me, okay, here's the thing. Fincher, I got lucky that I fluked into actually having seen a bunch of these. Not a bunch, but like enough to where it was doable to like flesh this out. I've had to get creative, and I'm going to have to say this on the podcast with them, that, like, for instance, I saw Panic Room about 15 years ago. Right. I'm counting that as me seeing it.
Hey.
I'm not rewatching Panic Room.
That counts.
But I've also actually seen the entire series of Mindhunter.
That gives you're a step ahead there. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Right. Fight Club we saw on this podcast.
We did.
House of Cards, I saw the first episode like a long time ago.
Me too.
So, but that still left me. I also saw Gone Girl.
That's good.
Which, that I also have seen The Social Network like 3 times. But that's still left. And Seven I saw like 10 years ago.
Okay.
I had to count that.
We're basically in the same boat. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but that's still left. Girl with Dragon Tattoo, The Game, Zodiac, and Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Yep. All long movies.
Okay. That's the thing about the movie. In the last 2 days, I watched Zodiac and Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Okay,
that's like over 5 hours right there. So when we just watched after going from seeing both of those to then watching Fargo felt like it was just like it was just over.
Yep.
Because I adapted to movies that are over 2.5 hours long apparently.
Yep. Man. See, my issue here is that, and I don't know if you've run into this, you didn't mention this one, but one of his movies is Alien 3. So I
am omitting that one on purpose.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm just going to abstain from that because I don't want to watch that.
I was considering it, but I'm also like, I have to. I technically have. Well, the thing is, I have to watch Aliens, which is a long movie, and then watch Alien 3. So
wait, so in addition to just the Fincher, you're actually committing to watching all
Aliens.
the Alien films leading up to
Well,
that.
there's only one. I've watched the very first Alien, but I haven't seen Aliens. So I do have to watch that one, which is long. It's like almost 3 hours long.
Wait, what's the naming convention of those films?
Well, it goes Alien, Aliens, and then Alien 3.
But there wasn't an Alien 2.
There was never an Alien 2, I'm pretty sure.
It was just multiple aliens.
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So that's the case there. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you're in the same boat though, because it's like
I also have to watch those music videos and the commercials, which I'll do like.
Yeah,
right
I mean
before.
you can bust those out.
Those are
in
easy.
30
Like you can
minutes.
bust those out in 30 minutes. Yeah, easy. But I had to count 2 films that I had seen over 10 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's
which
like,
I remember like pretty much nothing about, but just like vague impressions.
Yeah. I haven't seen The Social Network in a long time, and that one
I
it's
actually
like
saw that last year. So
that's so
that one I feel
convenient.
good about.
Yeah. I need to. Part of me is like, you should obviously. Okay. Also, to make it clear, I'm also doing a David Fincher ranked video, which I've had planned for a while now, and that will include Mank, which won't be in the podcast. But it's like
which I looked up on the list because we're doing like the ranked. So we got the bracket we were seeing.
Yeah.
And I looked. I'm like, okay, that's not on there.
That's not
so
on
I don't
there,
have to. I don't have to watch that yet.
So yeah.
Did you already watch that?
No, have not seen it yet.
Okay.
I do want to see it. But what I'm saying is, I probably will like rewatch Social Network and probably Zodiac because that's like one of my favorites. So like,
Yeah.
just so everybody's
this was the first time I had seen Zodiac.
man,
It's good.
It's so good. We won't spoil too much before the podcast, but yeah. If you guys are curious though, just be out on the lookout for that. We'll be talking about David Fincher on Intercut. Who those guys were just on here.
Yeah, what if someone was like, "Oh, I already heard Jeff's thoughts on Zodiac. I'm not gonna bother listening."
They're like, we won't.
I get the idea.
Skip it, yeah.
All right, well, anyways, talking about films, this week we watched a film.
Nice job. Yeah. Speaking of movies, we're talking about a movie this week. It's Fargo. You guys have probably heard of Fargo. It is a 1996 film directed by the Coen brothers, written and directed by the Coen brothers.
Wait, wasn't it just directed by one of them?
See, that's what I looked up because I know some of them are just directed by one and written by the other. And this one said directors, and then it said both of them. So
okay, because I thought when I watched it today, and I thought that the title card at the end just had one of their names.
Yeah,
and then it said written by both, and then produced by just the other one.
Okay.
I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah, but they were a part of it, definitely. Taking a sip of water.
Okay, yeah. So IMDb has both of them. So I could have just been wrong and wasted everyone's time.
All right. Yeah. Well,
I think that's what happened.
I'll get into this synopsis.
No, wait. No. Wait. Wikipedia says that Joel Cohen is the only director, and that Ethan was the producer.
That's interesting. Yeah. I think
that because that's what I remember seeing in the credits.
Right. Definitely changes how I look at this movie for sure. I think definitely gonna keep that in mind.
You're like, okay, yeah. It's like, yeah. You know what? I see that lack of Ethan influence.
Okay. Fargo is a reality-based crime drama set in Minnesota in 1987. That we'll talk about in a second. Jerry is a car salesman in Minneapolis who has gotten himself into debt and is so desperate for money that he hires 2 thugs, played by Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare, to kidnap his own wife. Jerry will collect the ransom from her wealthy father, played by Harve Presnell, paying the thugs a small portion and keeping the rest to satisfy his debts. The scheme collapses when the thugs shoot a state trooper. There's a severe lack of Frances McDormand's character in this synopsis for someone who I think is the main character, but that is accurate. That is what the movie is. I just am surprised she didn't come up.
Especially because that's like the only protagonist in the film.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm like, William H. Macy is not the main person here. But anyways, that's the gist of it. I will say right off the bat that we'll probably get into spoilers here. And it's an old movie and it's a classic, so I'm sure.
Yeah.
So if
I'm gonna say,
I do the timestamps for Q&A, so if you just want to, if you haven't seen it, you can just skip forward to Q&A. But yeah.
I'm going to say that for probably around 90% of the people listening, this film came out before you were born, so I think that it's okay if we spoil it a bit.
That's kind of the rules we go by.
You had your whole life to watch this.
Yeah. This came out before I was born. Like 1 year before I was born, so.
Yeah, I was I was 4.
I brought up like the Minnesota thing because Fargo isn't in Minnesota.
It's not in Minnesota.
No, but the majority of the movie does take place in Minnesota.
And they all have thick, like, jokey Minnesota accents.
Yep.
Like, those are the most over-the-top accents. They're like, they always say, you betcha.
You betcha. Oh, yeah. And people always ask me, not that often, but, like, people are, like, when I say I'm, like, from Minnesota, they're like, oh, so is that what it's like in Minnesota? And I'm like, no, it's not. We don't talk that much like this. But then I like went home for Thanksgiving. This was a few years back when I saw it, and I was like, oh, I guess they kind of do. I guess like they definitely, people do sound like this. I mean, like I say "ope" a lot, I feel like, or "ol," but not exaggerated like that. But you know what I'm saying. But yeah. That's like why I think I have a little bit of bias towards this, and why I love it so much is just because you don't get this kind of Minnesotan representation.
Yeah. No, I agree that I always slightly like films about Florida.
Right.
Like there's just a slight bias where I'm like, hey, I know about that. Just like Dolphin Tale, obviously I'm in that one.
Yeah,
but I definitely liked it slightly more because I'm like, I literally used to go to all these locations.
Exactly. You naturally are like...
Right. And even like Florida Project, I'm like, I lived in Orlando. Obviously, that at least is a good film on its own, unlike Dolphin Tale.
Yeah.
So that... Yeah. But that one, I'm like, that they really like capture the vibe of a lot of Orlando.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Jeff, this is famously your first time watching this. Which...
Famously.
I was very excited for because it's kind of like I get the same excitement out of someone watching this for the first time the way I did like Parasite, just because it's like such a fun movie with so many cool twists. And so what did you think?
So I usually tend to not love like dark comedies where just tons of people are getting killed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just like, but the way that this one was done was so much more palatable.
Yeah.
Because all of the, like, the way they present all of the characters, you don't get attached to any of them except for Marge Gunderson.
Right.
That's like the only one that you actually feel any sense of humanity about.
Yeah.
Which I mean, obviously that would be an issue if this was a different type of film. Mm-hmm. But for being a like pure dark comedy where it's just like this bizarro story where it's just supposed to be funny and not necessarily giving you like this, you know, insightful, like just you're not really, it's not trying to change your worldview very much.
Yeah.
So we, you know, in that sense, it works very well in that I don't feel like bad about people dying in this film.
Yeah. Totally.
So it doesn't take away from the comedic element for me, which I feel like a lot of times I find it hard to find like just films where tons of people are dying funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's like a very difficult thing to do.
Right.
And that's for characters that are established characters, right? Obviously, in something dumb like Guns Akimbo, you're just killing like drones, where it's just like they're technically people, but they're in the shot for 3 seconds, pointing a gun at like the protagonist, and then they get shot, and it's like you don't ever know anything about them.
Yeah.
But this is a film where all like a lot of the characters that are getting killed, you actually have been following for quite a while.
Yeah. No, that's
so it's harder to make you not feel like bad about them getting killed.
Right. That's a great point. Like there is a lot of violence in this movie, which is what I realized, I think, my last time watching it, which was recently, but not that recent, because I was just like, I don't need to rewatch it. But because I got David Fincher to catch up on.
Yeah,
but,
you got a lot of Fincher.
But yeah, it's never. You're right. It doesn't feel cheesy or just thrown in there for the sake of kind of upping the the craziness. It's always so well deserved, and when it happens, it's like there's a lot of care put around the kill. And it's like not only that, it's like sure I don't like feel much about them, but clearly it's like a big deal to the characters in the film, and I think that's it's simultaneously like ridiculous but also very truthful. Like Marge and her reactions to everything happening are so honest, and that's something I just don't see as much, which I think is why it works so well.
I love Marge's like, it's like this small town competence.
Yep. Yeah.
Where she's depicted in this very like rural, like easygoing way. Yeah. But also she's extremely competent still. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like within this just set of like ridiculous circumstances in this tiny place.
Yeah. That's something I think like Marge is the most like Midwestern person in the movie. It's like I can't say people talk exactly like that, but I know like most of Minnesota is like Marge in just the way in that like small town competence you're describing. Yeah. It's just so accurate.
It really is, I think, like a very American film in that there is this like putting on like a nice face, I guess, where that's like something Americans I know internationally are known for, is always like this kind of almost fake like niceness, where you're always just like being pleasant.
Yeah.
And there's definitely a lot of that in this film.
Totally.
With Marge, which is funny. Like the scene with like the guy, the man who contacts her.
Oh yeah.
Who works for like Honeywell, who then like is like it's funny. It's like a scene about him trying to have an affair with her, but the scene is like so short, and he just like stops it immediately.
Yep. Yeah. Well, that's what I love about this is that I feel like anyways. I think so many movies about the Midwest or about like rural areas or like suburbia that are contemporary, that is like they always seem like they're talking down on that group of people, and some of them like are really funny, like anything John Waters has done, and like Greener Grass is literally just like making fun of suburban people, but this one doesn't. Like, sure, it's like poking fun and there's like a ton of like comedy in it, but it really does like a great job at kind of understanding the perspective of these people and why they choose this lifestyle. And it's not like because I feel like movies always dumb it down as like, oh, if you live in the suburbs with like a husband and a nice little yard, it's like that's like a bad thing. Like it's very cliche and stereotypical, and it's like. For those people, it's not, like, especially Marge.
It's and like the way this film contextualizes Marge's job within her like broader life, and where it's like at the end of the day she just has this normal life with Norm, who's like a painter. And she still spends so much time like attending to like his like needs, even though it seems like he just like sits around, and she just does like all of these different jobs within this film. It's it's such a layered film also for necessarily how much it could have kind of excluded a lot of this stuff and still just done a lot of the same, dark comedic elements. But Marge's character is there's a lot of depth.
Totally. She's like one of my favorite characters because she starts off as just like this goofy person, and I'm like, oh, I hope we follow more of her. And the film does. And I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I would want out of this. And just the way it ends with her in the car, and there's just and she gets back in bed. I'm just like, this is such a great movie.
This is okay. So, getting back, just relating this back to the film I watched most recently before this, which was the Fincher film, of course, for that whole thing.
Yep.
But it was Benjamin Button.
Yeah.
And this is a film that, like, against that, the rewatchability for this is like 100 times higher than that.
Yep.
Like this film is so rewatchable because the scenes are all like the perfect length.
Exactly.
Right? So again, the scene with her and the guy trying to start an affair with her, once this scene accomplishes like what it's trying to say about Marge, it just ends, and then like you're like, okay, right when you got what you need to get out of that scene, it just jumps into the next thing. And even all of these scenes with Steve Buscemi, I don't know, he's so good in this film too.
He's so good.
But
yeah,
like a lot of his scenes are so short. Like even like pivotal scenes, like when he gets shot in the face.
Yep.
That actual entire scene on the roof of the parking lot is not a very long scene.
No.
Because usually films in that type of scene stretch that scene out for like, because they're doing it obviously for suspense reasons, of course.
Yeah.
Where they like stretch it out as long as possible. Where this, he just shows up and then he's like, "Who are you?" And that just gets hectic right away, which is like the opposite way to interpret that kind of scene. But I think it works so well.
Totally. It's such a self-aware movie, I would say. There's like one long scene in it, and it's literally, I think, the very first scene when I think it's just the opening credits, but then I feel like they slowly get into the bar, and that conversation is just, but at the same time, it feels like this super dramatic opening, and then they immediately like introduce Steve Buscemi, and he's so goofy and grounds you like right away, and I think that's such a perfect like opening to a movie like this, that it's like, yeah, it's like it's dark, but it's dark humor, it's funny, you know.
Yeah. Also, William H. Macy is so good in this film that I hate him. Like, I actually like hate him as a person because of how good he is in this film. He's just like the worst person ever because his character is so, there's so much depth to his character.
Yeah.
That I feel like I know him as a person, even though obviously it's him acting. But I still kind of hate him because he's just like the worst person ever. In
what way would you like? What makes him the worst to you? Because I'm just curious.
Okay, just what motivates him in general in this entire film is just like saving his own ass,
right,
at the expense of everyone. Like the fact that he didn't even consider his like kid's well-being.
Yeah,
where they're like, "Have you talked to the kid?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot that I was getting his mother kidnapped.
Yeah,
didn't think about what that would do." It's funny because the way I'm describing this is like I'm describing the plot, and it makes it sound like I think this really happened.
No, it's true though. He's like such a loser in this movie, which is perfect.
Yeah. Do you know Steve Jones, the professor at DePaul?
No.
Okay, so I took like a class, like pre-production with him when I was at DePaul, and he had this story about William H. Macy that he would tell. And apparently, like, obviously this was before William H. Macy was like famous. They both were working as roofers in like LA. And like, yeah, they were like working as roofers together, and like something happened where they ended up having to like do some kind of cross-country drive together.
Wow. That's awesome. Yeah. That's such a good...
So yeah, I realize like after saying that, that's not really like good of an anecdote because there's literally no payoff.
No, but I mean it's still pretty cool. For a second, I couldn't tell if you were doing a bit or not. I was like, "Is this a reference to something?" That
That's a real story that is only half a story because I never actually got any. There's no finality to that story.
Right. No,
maybe they're still driving. Who knows?
That's cool. Yeah, that's what he's been doing now. William H. Macy. Well, I guess he was in Shameless. Is he in that? I don't really know.
Right? Yeah, like the American one.
Yeah.
There's an English one, and then the American one was filmed in Chicago, right?
Yeah, Jaxie worked on it, I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Just another friend working on a cool thing while we...
Well, I sit in front of this green curtain.
Drinking old Coke.
Right now I'm drinking orange juice mixed with pineapple juice.
Hell yeah. That actually sounds really nice. I've had that before.
It's
a good beverage. I'm just drinking water for the beverage check today. Get that for the thumbnail.
But it's in an orange glass.
Yeah. So
you should put like a question mark on the glass, and then it's like, who knows what you're drinking? It could be anything.
Could be orange juice. Could be not orange juice. Yeah. Well, what else? Roger Deakins shot this. And I thought,
really?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Let me just fact check that actually real quick, because
okay, no, you're right.
I'm okay, cool. It's really
his
like
haircut is so funny in the Wikipedia picture.
Roger Deakins does have a nice head of hair, for the record.
Yeah, it's like I think he's just showing it off, which is why he keeps so much of it.
Yeah. But I was gonna bring that
very
up.
bowl cutish.
because Roger D, like, this is a great example of why he is such a good DP, because there's someone, like, doing a good, like, there's making it look beautiful, which he always does, but he still has, like, a trademark, but still knows how to, like, adapt for the movie. And this, at least, is the first movie of his that I've seen that's a comedy. I'm sure there's more. I just can't think of them right now. I'm sure that he's done another Coen Brothers film that's a comedy that I just can't think of off the top of my head. But
I'm just going to say, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I made that up that he shot that, but maybe he did.
He actually did.
Did he?
Yep, he shot that one. I'm pretty sure. Don't fact check me on it. But what I was saying is...
fact check that. We're on a podcast talking to like a few thousand people. I think I definitely should fact check that.
A film podcast, yeah. Well, while you do that, I just think he makes the comedy perfect. Awesome. He may have done The Big Lebowski as well.
Yeah, he did as well.
Okay.
He did that as well.
He's just like, it's great. And I think it works really well in here because he's really making use of the settings and the space, especially like that initial shot that's like pretty iconic. I think it's like all the posters of like the person on the ground and them.
Also, Hail Caesar.
Hail Caesar, which is not that good of a movie, but it is beautiful.
It's not that good.
Not a good movie.
It's
but
fine.
It's okay. I think it's great. Not the movie, but Roger Deakins' cinematography.
You should just say like 3 things in a row and then say, yeah, it's great.
It's
and
great.
Then just people have to guess which one.
People are like, oh, he thinks all of them are great. Yeah.
Also, apparently did the cinematography for Rango.
I did know that as well. Yeah, that is really funny.
Have you seen Rango?
I have twice. Yeah.
I just saw it in theaters, and that's the only time I've ever seen it.
Yep. It's the best thing that Nickelodeon Studios has ever put out. I'm pretty sure.
I remember liking it.
Besides the SpongeBob movie, I take it back. That's the best thing they've done.
Yep. Like the first one.
The first one. New one is bad. That in theaters
too. Dude, there was like a period that this podcast has made me realize where from like the ages of like 9 to 16, I just saw apparently every film that came out in theaters. Because I'm like all these random films, like, yeah, I saw that in theaters for some reason.
Yeah. Hey, we all go through that. I've done that for the past few years. Maybe this is just a phase. Not this year though. Haven't seen anything in theaters this year, but
before like pre-March you probably did, right?
Probably did. Yeah, I saw a few.
Yeah, because I saw like a couple things.
Yeah.
Saw Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
Right. I saw the Sonic movie. I ditched class to go see the Sonic movie for a video, which was
in
a wake-up call.
Probably worth it, right?
Probably worth it. Yeah, I mean, 100,000 people saw the video. I was like, I guess this was.
And did 100,000 people see that class?
Nah,
I don't think so.
No, like 12 people saw the class. Anyways, I will ask you this as we, because I think we've talked about this a good amount.
Yeah.
I just want to ask.
Okay. Real quick, before you ask that, I'm gonna say the only thing that I actually knew about this film, because I guess I've done a very good job at not knowing anything about this film. That what does that even mean? Why did I say that? I've done a good job about not knowing anything about this film. I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. I've done a good job not learning anything my entire life. But I just knew about the wood chipper, but I didn't even know the context of it. And then I saw it and I'm like, why is that the most, like, for me, I guess that was like the one iconic scene in this film that I thought it was, at least. That is the most minor aspect of this film.
Yeah, no, that's not, in my opinion, the most iconic scene. But
no, now seeing the film, I agree. It's not at all.
It's good. It's great. It's such a good scene. But
yeah.
And what does that say about the movie? I think those early scenes with like the first killings are the best. Like, so perfectly set up and immediately hook you in. But yeah.
Okay. Marge did some sketchy police work at the end. She shot a guy running away.
Yeah. Yeah.
What's that about, Marge?
What's that? Yeah. I guess we got to revisit that one. And
yeah, I don't think that's how the police works. I know you saw a guy shoving a leg down a wood chipper, but you don't know. He could have been trying to get the leg out of the wood chipper.
Right. Yeah.
You don't know what's happening, Marge.
Yeah. I want to ask you, I think, and we'll probably do like a Coen Brothers thing in the future, but for right now, like, what would you say is your favorite Coen Brothers movie? Because I think this is mine.
I'm gonna, just so I don't miss out on anything here,
Yeah.
I'm going to get a list. Absolutely going to get a list.
Yeah. I'm sure you haven't seen a lot of their earlier stuff, just because I don't think those are as, like, everyone has seen them, you know?
Okay, so I actually have not seen Raising Arizona, even though I've almost seen it a bunch.
I think you really
pretty
like
much. I got to be honest, I actually have not seen that many Coen Brothers films.
And that's okay.
I've seen Fargo. I have not seen The Big Lebowski.
Oh, man.
I've seen Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? That's very good.
Yep.
I've seen The Lady Killers. I've seen Burn After Reading. I've seen Inside Llewyn Davis. I've seen The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. I've seen Hail Caesar. So I've seen like
nice. Those are
almost
good.
half.
Yeah. So would you say
Inside
this is
Llewyn
up
Davis
there?
is my favorite.
Okay. Wait. Actually, okay. I know I just said.
I know you're going to say that's your favorite as well because we've talked about how much you love that film.
We have talked about it in the past.
Yeah.
Inside Llewyn Davis is. I think I just forget that's a Coen Brothers movie. It is so different compared to everything else they've done, but they're such diverse filmmakers. They do so many different things. So,
No, this is up there.
This is definitely second.
I would say this and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou are probably close for like second.
Okay.
And then probably so Lady Killers I haven't seen in a long enough time where I don't feel like I have a good rating for that.
Never seen it.
But pretty much I think then The Ballad of Buster Scruggs and then Hail Caesar's last.
Gotcha. Yeah, Hail Caesar's last for me as well.
Yeah, it's watchable, but I don't want to watch it again. Mm-hmm. Ballad of Buster Scruggs is weird.
Yeah, that movie is. I like it a lot, but it definitely came and went compared to a lot of their movies. Where it's like I don't know if I'll ever watch it again.
I mean, it's an anthology, which like a few of the like parts of it I liked, and then like a few I was like, this could have been shorter. Yeah.
Well, I think that will do. What are you feeling for a rating for this? And also a time of day. We haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. So time of day. This feels like for sure like it's nice and short. So I think a nice like prime time, but like late-ish. So it's like you're kind of a little looser. Mm-hmm. I think maybe like at 10 p.m.
That's a good one. Yeah, I would definitely watch this at 10 p.m.
Yeah, and I think like actual rating, it's either 4 or 4.5. It's like one of those. You know, I feel like I might lean towards. Nice. You know what? I haven't decided yet. It's gonna be one of those two. All
right.
I haven't decided.
Mine's a fat 5. Personally,
yeah.
I think it's a perfect movie.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I also Minnesotan, and we just treasure this thing. I think some might not like it because it paints us in a bad light. But
do you think that initially the Coen Brothers were trying to do like one of those things that Sufjan was doing, where Sufjan wasn't doing it, but the marketing people for Sufjan, where it's like trying to release a movie about like every state.
Every state.
They're like, well, we have Raising Arizona.
Literally,
now we have Fargo.
They're on their way to do that at this point because they've basically done not basically. They have a lot to go. But what state would you like to see them do? Florida? Because I realize they don't really have a Florida one that I can think of.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, this is going to be a little bit out there.
Okay.
But I think maybe some like overseas American territory would be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or just Hawaii.
I was going to say Hawaii.
Yeah, because I was thinking like, you know, maybe one of the like outer islands that is a part of the U.S.
Yeah.
Which, while we're vaguely on that subject, I want to say that I think that all of those, you know, all territories of the U.S. should have full voting rights within the U.S. And should have voting representation in the House of Representatives.
For sure. This night, I guess we'll get into questions. That does it for Fargo. Hopefully that was a solid discussion.
I love it. I love how you summarize segments where we end up talking about something completely unrelated. And then you're like, that was Fargo. That was Fargo, talking about voting rights in American Samoa. That was Fargo.
Well, this first one comes from patron Jacob Colness from the Patreon. If you pledge $15 on Patreon and you ask us a question, you will be getting it answered in one of the official episodes. This is that. Jacob asks, reimagine a superhero franchise, but reworked by a current indie filmmaker / cast. For example, my pitch. Jim Jarmusch directed Superman with Adam Driver as Superman, Greta Gerwig as Lois Lane. I don't know Superman.
Lois Lane. It's
Lois Lane. Okay, I've never seen it. Exploring the mundane but pleasant life of Clark Kent when he's just at home reading the newspaper during his in-between time. I'd love to watch that movie. That sounds like I'm into that. But I'd watch anything Jim Jarmusch does. But that's a good question. I would say I want to see the Hulk, because I feel like they always don't do the Hulk justice. I think the Hulk has always had a bad movie, and he never gets enough screen time in the Avengers and stuff. So I would say the Hulk, like a Hulk origin story directed by Harmony Korine.
Okay, that's interesting.
I'm just kind of throwing things up in the air.
I don't know if I like that.
I don't know if I think it'd be really funny. I think he would. I haven't seen enough of Harmony Korine to really know what he would do with it. I've only actually seen like Beach Bum and Spring Breakers and Kids, but he wrote that. He didn't direct it. And haven't seen Gummo. So maybe I don't want this, but
dude, I hate Gummo. It's probably of every film I've ever seen, it's probably the film I want to at least see again.
That's interesting, yeah. Mm-hmm. I really want to watch it just out of curiosity, but
I have a good one, but it's not necessarily an indie filmmaker.
Right,
so
that's fine.
So I'll say, so I really want to see an Iron Man movie by the Wachowskis.
Yes, that's a good one.
Like, I feel like they do really good with like technology oriented things, or even just things that are like fast and like moving and speed, like Speed Racer with all the colors and like moving. I feel like you could do something like that with Iron Man.
Totally, yeah. That'd be super cool. Like his lights that come out of his like rockets are like they stay in the air.
Right.
That'd be
like
cool.
Kind of like a Tron type
right,
vibe.
Right. That'd be cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then
that would be interesting. And then let me think who I would want Iron Man to be in that scenario. Nathan Fielder. No, just kidding.
Dude, wait.
The weirdest casting choice of all time. I feel like if we want people to like watch this film, you honestly could just leave it as Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's the perfect Iron Man. I can't see.
Yeah, because he has it's hard to have someone who like has the correct kind of charisma for that role.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because they need to have the kind of dickish like rich person vibes.
Yeah. I want to say.
Yeah.
Well, no. Say what you were gonna say.
No, you go. You go. I had nothing else to say.
I had a complete side thing about Nathan Fielder because I've been going through Nathan For You this week in between my Fincher movies.
Wait, this is your first time seeing it, or you've seen it?
No, I've seen like plenty of episodes, but I've never actually like watched it in order, and I'm realizing I actually have not seen a lot of these episodes. And I just watched the one where he puts the rebate box at the top of the mountain.
That might be my favorite one.
It's so
And then it turns into this like touching like documentary that's like about these people.
And then it ends with the guy drinking his grandson's pee or talking about it. That doesn't actually do it, but it's just such a ridiculous ending.
I just love how what it actually is a documentary about the types of people who would try to claim this rebate.
Yep, exactly. I think it's a genius episode of television. It's so good. That is like, I didn't think, because I always thought Finding Francis was like the like peak of that in the show, but he's been doing that. This is like season 1, and it's like
it's
such a great show.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ever shows. And it's because there's this level of humanity that I think like what Sacha Baron Cohen does is really interesting as well, but there's this extra layer of humanity in what Nathan Fielder does.
Totally, yeah.
Sacha Baron Cohen's kind of just like sticking it to power in a lot of ways. It's
like political Jackass, kind of.
Yeah, and not even just Borat, but like also Ali G. It's just like, you know, it's a lot of it. Yeah, it is just dealing with that, where Nathan Fielder's dealing with just normal people. Yeah. And not necessarily trying to make them look stupid.
Right.
A lot of times they do seem stupid, but he's more of just playing a character who gets people to open up.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like I would need to articulate this. Like think about it a little bit more.
You have a great point. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, this next one comes from Lucy Q. And
so that answers your question, Jacob Coleman.
is check out Nathan For You. This one is very meta, and it's straight to the point. I'm surprised we haven't been asked this before, but it is, what makes for a good question? If it has something to do with Nathan Fielder, I think we're your guys.
Yeah, that's good. Or Wes Anderson.
Right. I think we can talk about those two guys.
Or Karsten merchandise.
Which I'm
we
wearing.
could talk about that all
right
day.
now. It's not available yet, but it will be.
Yeah, with the circle in the middle with your your symbol, your green letterbox.
It really does not come. This is supposed to be.
No, I thought it was the other one. I thought it was the small one right above the Y.
Oh, this one. Yeah, it also doesn't come across that well. So we're just gonna pretend. Yeah, sure. Mm-hmm. Okay.
You know what? I'm gonna say form your own opinion on that matter. That's my answer to the question. What makes a good question? Form your own opinion.
Yep. The classic sign off. Yeah, I don't know what a good. I like the stuff, and honestly, this might be weird to say on a movie podcast, but I do like the stuff that doesn't have to do with movies. I like
I do too.
Taking a little break and discussing like snacks. Those are always my favorites, and that's why I pick them most of the time.
And I mean, I think this podcast in general it just uses movies as like a launching point. It's not, because there's a lot of podcasts that do a much, much better job than we do talking.
And we're aware of that.
Films. Yeah. This is a film discussion podcast, not a film analysis podcast. With some fun hangout time between friends.
Every time I describe it, I call it a comedy film podcast because I think we have bits that are based off of trying to talk about movies. And that's pretty much what it is.
The bit is that I'm an idiot.
And this last one comes from Cyhots9292. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. And it is, who is your favorite Beatle and why? I don't think we've answered this before, have we?
We might have, but
we've talked about the Beatles
our opinions
before.
Have changed.
Yeah. Mine, well, it's like there's personality and then there's the music. And my favorites...
I was going to say, I was going to make that exact distinction.
Okay, all right.
And I bet we have similar ideas as well, based off the fact that we're going to make that distinction.
Mm-hmm. Because my favorite, and I don't know if I can count this as a solo project because it's not entirely solo, but my favorite like solo project aside from the Beatles is John Lennon's Double Fantasy with Yoko, which I know that's not fully solo. It's with Yoko, but it's not, you know what I mean? I think that's a really nice album. So I think I like John Lennon's solo stuff the most, but I like George Harrison a lot too.
So George Harrison is definitely my favorite Beatle in terms of he just seems like the person I'd want to hang out with the most.
Exactly, yeah.
And then Paul would be number 2.
Okay.
And then probably Ringo and John are tied for 3rd.
Yeah.
In terms of like who I think would be fun to hang out with.
For sure. I don't think I'd want to hang out with John.
George is like way ahead.
Yeah.
No, John that's
would be
the thing.
Annoying.
But Ringo seems kind of annoying too. Ringo seems at least kind of nice.
Ringo seems a little annoying, and Paul seems like very fun and goofy.
Yeah.
But I think, I just wouldn't want to hang out with
Paul. I think it's hard because he's had to live for, the last 55 years as being one of the most famous people in the world.
Yeah.
So I think it's hard for Paul to be a normal person at this point.
That's true. And George seems like the most grounded out of all of them.
And George, and of course George, even obviously he's been dead for 20 years.
Yeah.
But,
So he's really
grounded. His solos. Yeah. Okay, that was bad. I'm disappointed in you. But yeah, George had some interesting solo stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
And so there was nothing said that we cut there. That was just audio glitch.
It was such a good
and that
joke,
answers your
though.
question.
All right. Yep. Well, I guess we'll get into the wrap up.
Do you have any more questions?
No, that's it.
Are you sure?
Well, these are the ones that I picked. We definitely have more, but we can save them for future.
I'm gonna type in ask me a question into Google. And what is a good question to ask? And here's the first one that comes up. Who is your hero?
Who's your hero, Jeff?
I asked you first.
This is okay. I'll say Tyler the Creator, probably. I feel like that's a little corny, but he's my. I know you were expecting my parents, but
I was expecting Christopher Allen.
Christopher Allen, yeah. But I feel like he's more.
Yeah, so you're talking about like one of your creative heroes.
Yeah, and he's easily like the reason I'm doing most of what I'm doing today. So
yeah.
What about you?
I mean, if we're gonna go like creative heroes, wait, Tyler the Creator is the reason you were a YouTube movie?
Yeah, it's
essayist?
A long, yeah. He's it because it's a bunch of it. All boils down to him, and I will not. It's just a long, yeah.
Have you made any content about how this is the case?
Nope, I have not.
You should make a video about that.
I probably should, yeah, because and I'm not even that big of a fan of his anymore, but yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's got some good videos.
I feel like any answer I have will just sound dumb because it hasn't inspired me to do anything.
You should say Nathan Fielder. Not really, but
I'll say I don't know, Stephen Merritt of the Magnetic Fields.
Okay, yeah. Solid. Not your parents. That's
no, definitely not patron Mary Lee Borslow.
Yeah. Cool. Well, that will do for questions then. Good wholesome note to end on. Also we should...
That was not wholesome at all.
Not that wholesome.
You're like, not your parents. I'm like, no.
We lose Mary Lee Borslow as a patron.
She's gonna listen to this too.
Yeah.
You came in second.
What are we talking about?
All right, well, I guess wrap up.
Next week? Next week? What are we talking about? Rango? Let's fuck it. All right, we're talking about Rango.
Rango. We're talking about Rango.
All right. Yep. So check that out.
We put zero thought into it.
We do not know.
Like, okay, so the only thing I've learned is that Intercut Podcast, who we're talking to tomorrow, puts so much work into their podcast.
Yeah.
We're like, what's the mood next week? I'm like, Rango?
And we're like, yeah, fuck it. It is available on Hulu. I just looked it up. So check out Rango. It's a classic. It's like a milestone in animation, I'd say. It's a big one in a way, but yeah. And next we'd like to read a review. This one comes from Sakari from Canada. It is 5 stars. Subject line is, I love this podcast. And it reads, this is a really funny podcast. I listen in class. I don't know why that made me laugh. I listen in class mostly, but one time I was in the middle of a test and y'all said something and just laughed so hard. And I just laughed so hard that everyone looked at me and I got detention. Still a 10 out of 10 podcast. And yeah. So sorry about that.
Hopefully they let you listen to another episode in detention.
Yeah. We'll keep you from boredom, I guess. Let me just ask, have you ever gone to detention, Jeff? Did you ever get detention in high school?
I did once.
Okay.
Not in high school, in middle school.
Okay, yeah. Well, bad boy.
Yeah, no, it was no, some guy hit me. And
Uh-huh.
And then I got detention.
Damn.
I got punched in the stomach. And I got detention.
2 losses. You just had the worst day.
Yeah. And it's like,
pain.
they got Sunday school, which was like they had to come in on a Sunday.
That's worse, actually.
It's worse,
Yeah.
but I didn't do anything. I just got punched.
Yeah.
They're like, he must have done something.
Damn. I think I went to detention 3 times, all of which were related to skipping class. So, pretty,
well, shows
bad
you they can't
boy.
detain you too. They can't detain you too much.
Yeah, no, they can't. Thank you. And lastly, we'd like to read the patrons. Here's the deal, Jeff, and I want to pitch this to you.
Yeah.
Please tell me if you're not down. But I forgot to read them last week. I never did enter their names. So I think I got to read them twice this week. Just
So wait, do you want me to repeat it after you say it?
Just the name?
Yeah.
Well, that would be...
Or you say their first name and I guess their last name.
No, we're not doing that. That should be painful. I'll just
like Smith.
I can
Smith.
I'll just read them and then we can decide after I read them the first time.
Okay.
So, thank you. Oh, well, okay, let me just do my whole spiel. These come from the patreon.com/Karstcast. If you would like to know the best way to support us, that is how you can. Currently, we don't have any merch.
Well, or give us like $1,000 on Venmo.
That would be cool. I mean, you can pledge that on Patreon, but
can you?
I don't know why anyone would, but yeah, head on over to patreon.com/Karstcast where you can get exclusive access to bonus episodes, Q&As, shout-outs at the end of every episode, Zoom hangouts. Last one was a lot of fun, and much, much more. So head on over there. But first, okay, cool. So thank you. Jeff, before we do the Patreon names, I just got to say you're fired. Addison Ware.
I love the person that'll make that first and you even read it. You're like,
Addison Ware, Allison Grace, Annabelle Falk, Bex, Blake Root, Boat, Brandon Yu, Breffrey, Jorislow, Brock Schultz, Camilla Eden, Ethan Justice, Fozzie Bear, Grant Gow, Hannah E, Harry, Rema Dianakis, Holly Edwards, Iron Tusk 93, Isabel, Iva, Jaden Easton, Jacob Colness, John Van Hout, Joshua Kraswicki, KDT, Kevin Turner, Liqui, Liv, Rob, Lucian Vecina, Luke Vinyard, Maddie Robertson, Martin Deff, Mary Lee Borslow, Michael Decker, Moses Ox, Monroe Page, Pablo Patel, Parks, Ready Steady Ernie, Robert Burke, Sam Farr, Sophia Arieta, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Smitty Werbin, Jagerman Jensen, Taylor Hardy, 10 Billion, Toad Pimp, Tom Lakes Beans, Vegard Strom, Vera S, Yoki Sasquatch, and Yusef A. Thank you so much, everybody.
Yep.
Do we want to run that back one more time, or are we...
Yeah, can you do it in reverse order?
Mm-hmm. That I can. Thank you, Yusef A, Yoki Sasquatch, Vera S, Vegard Strom, Tom Likes Beans, Toad Pimp, 10 Billion, Taylor Hardy, Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, Smitty Werbin, Jagerman Jensen, Sophia Arieta, Sam Farr, Robert Burke, Ready Steady Ernie, Parks, Pablo Patel, Monroe Page, Moses Ox, Michael Decker, Mary Lee Borslow, Martin Deff, Maddie Robertson, Luke Vinyard, Lucian Vecina, Liv Rob, Liqui, Kevin Turner, KDT, Joshua Kraswicki, John Van Hout, Jacob Colness, Jaden Easton, Iva, Isabel, Iron Tusk 93, Holly Edwards, Harry, Rema Dianakis, Hannah E., Grant Gow, Fozzie Bear, Ethan Justice, Eden, Camilla, Brock Schultz, Breffrey Jorislow, Brandon Yu, Boat, Blake Root, Bex, Annabelle Falk, Allison Grace, Addison Ware, and Jeff, before we do the Patreon names, I just gotta say, you're fired.
Honestly, after this episode, maybe you should.
Man, I think I pronounced one person's name two different ways the first and the second time, and we'll see if...
So one of those ways is bound to be right.
One of these got to be right. And one of them has got to be wrong. So that is the podcast.
That's a pessimistic worldview. It's laugh half correct.
Right. Well, Jeff, do you have anything to say?
Not that much.
Neither do I. We talked a lot.
My mom bought this for some reason, and it's like I am burdened with it now. How am I supposed to eat this? It's literally a 1-pound bag of cereal marshmallows. How am I supposed to eat this?
Wait, can you do a pose for the thumbnail real quick while I just... All right, thank you. That's wait, one more time. I didn't... There we go. Thank you, Jeff.
And people are gonna be like, what's the context?
Yeah.
To sit around all the way until the end.
Right. Okay. Well, Jeff,
dude, how much sugar do you think is in this? Just real quick, and then I'll end it.
I don't even know where to start with that.
Because it's literally all sugar. So I'm gonna do the quick math here. And it looks like there is 375 grams of sugar in this.
Wow.
So that's not good for you.
No, not at all. Well, on that note, Jeff.
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
And you're like, I'm holding the marshmallows. You're like, that does it for Fargo.
flip side.